Good morning. I would like to share a simple scripture from 1 Peter chapter 5 and then talk with you a little bit just about it for our devotional time this morning. In 1 Peter 5:8 we read, "Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy the devil prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith." Someone said to me the other day, and this is really the reason I want to share these thoughts, that they were very fearful of Satan and felt that they had no chance against him, that they were just doomed to defeat. I got to thinking a lot about that and a lot of what the Bible said about that. And from that thinking and from that looking back at Scripture, I said some things to him that I want to share with you, because I don't think he's the only one that feels that way or face those kind of feelings. Let me begin by taking you back to an episode from Star Trek. I was a huge Star Trek fan, and I remember a time Scotty had beamed some of the crew down to this planet, and Captain Kirk and others were put in this sealed room and kept prisoners by these very powerful beings. But along the way in this story, some things happened that made Captain Kirk begin to think things are not what they appear to be. I'm thinking the only thing holding us captive here is deception. And so he took his phaser from one of the aliens that came in, and he fired a shot at that alien and then fired a shot at the wall, but nothing happened. And there were a couple of other aliens in there watching, and one of them said, "See, you didn't do anything. Our friend is still fine, and the wall's still intact." And Captain Kirk said, "No, I don't believe they are. I believe he's actually dead, and I believe there's a huge gaping hole in that wall." And as it turned out, Captain Kirk was right. The only power these beings had, who turned out to be frail, elderly women, the only power they had was deception. And that sent me to thinking about a man known in the Wild West as Black Bart, who from 1875 to 1883 stole the treasures and the breath from numerous Wells Fargo stages in the Sierra Madres. In fact, he robbed 29 stagecoaches and became notorious. It's found out later, after he was captured, that he was Charles E. Bowles, and he was a mild-mannered dentist from Decatur, Illinois, who rode to his robberies in a buggy and carried 2 guns, neither of which he ever loaded. He ruled by reputation and intimidation. His power was deception. Now, we know 2 primary things about Satan, particularly from the New Testament. First is, he is powerful. His power is no match for our power in and of ourselves. But we also learn that his real power is deception. It is his deception that gives us power over us that would otherwise not be his. So in light of those truths, I want to say to you, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled about Satan. Take him very seriously, because he is a powerful enemy. But don't take him too seriously, so seriously, because he is an enemy without authority over you. So let's talk about that. Satan is a powerful enemy. He's called enemy almost 30 times in the New Testament. He has the power to devour, the Bible tells us. He has the power to destroy, the Bible tells us. Don't be fooled into thinking he's a mild-mannered individual against whom you can consistently and victoriously compete. He has the power to do things that we are not aware of, and that can do us in if we are not careful. He can appear to be our best friend, but he is always and only an enemy. I remember at a time at the Bond County Fair that my daughter Lindsay was pretty little, maybe about 2 or 3, and she was able to hold a lion cub, and she thought it was so cute, and it was cute. But for a long time after that, she wanted to get a pet lion, and I kept telling her no, and she couldn't understand why, because that lion was so cute. I had to tell her, yeah, but it grows up to be a real lion, a big lion, and a potentially dangerous lion. It's not really the best analogy, but, Satan is like that. He appears to be this cute little cuddly thing that we can handle, that's no threat to us, but it's deceiving because he is always our enemy, no matter what he appears to be. So be careful. Satan is a powerful enemy. But remember, Satan's true power, his real success over us, is his deceit. In fact, he's called deceiver almost 30 times in the New Testament. Paul says he appears as an angel of light. The point is, though, that when we believe the deception, he exercises great power over us. Anytime his deceit is believed by us, he therefore exercises power over us. He deceives us because he is experienced at his job and he is tireless. And he is shrewd, as the book of Genesis says. But remember, Jesus has authority over the enemy. He has given us authority over the enemy. Jesus said, I have given you authority over the power of the enemy. Jesus didn't say, I give you power greater than his power. He said, I give you authority over that power. In other words, Satan has power, but we have authority. What's the difference? Well, imagine a semi barreling down the interstate at 85 miles an hour. Caught on a policeman's radar. The policeman pursues in this little police cruiser, little by comparison, lights flashing, and the semi pulls over. Why? Well, because even though the semi has the power, the policeman has the authority. And that's the way the Bible talks about Satan and us. Satan has power, but we have authority. We can overcome him. Resist him, said Peter. Submit to God, said James. That's the way to overcome Satan. That's our means of victory. So yes, Satan is a powerful enemy. And he will dog us every day of our lives, every step of the day. But he has no real authority over us. Jesus has given us power over the authority of Satan. As long as we submit to God in the midst of the deception, as long as we submit to God in the midst of the temptation, we'll know victory. By the way, just because we obey God, or should I say feign in obedience, doesn't mean we're submitting. I can fake submission by an outward appearance of obedience. People did it in the Bible all the time. Remember, Judas planted that kiss on Jesus' cheek in Gethsemane and said, "Hail, Master." Everybody who saw that or heard that would have thought, wow, how Judas really loves Jesus. But what was really going on in Judas' heart was not love at all. Just because we obey or do something that looks like it honors God doesn't mean we're really submissive in our heart. But if we want to defeat Satan, we're going to have to submit to God. It's a heart thing. And we have to resist the devil. We have to conscientiously and consistently say, I don't believe your lie. I think my phaser has really worked, and I'm going to trust that any hold you have on me is just deception. So don't be fooled either way. Don't be fooled that you're a match on your own without Jesus, without brothers and sisters, without following biblical principles to defeat Satan. But don't be fooled into thinking that Satan has any real power over you, because he doesn't. It's all in his deceit. Don't believe his deceit. Let's bow. Father, thank you for the truth of your word, the promise of Jesus that is greater than anything Satan brings against us. Give us wisdom. Help us to always be wise in our dealings with him, not to listen, not to give him the time of day, not to give him a second thought, not to believe his word in any way, but to resist him, knowing that we have authority to say no, and that authority from Jesus is our power. And God, help us to submit to you always, that we might walk in victory. We ask.